Hot off the heels of his win in Malaysia, it's a hat trick of pole positions for Max Verstappen in the second half of this 2017 season, as he went quickest under the lights of Abu Dhabi by over a quarter second to his nearest rival. Occupying the spot alongside him will be Daniel Ricciardo, who got the better of his German teammate, Vettel a tenth and a half slower than the Aussie. Van Dorn seems to be hitting his stride once again after a podium last time out, grabbing fourth and now just one race win away from potentially grabbing the lead of this championship. Current championship leader aarava will start the race from 5th position, now level on points with Verstappen, but starting 4 places behind his rival won't help him in the championship with just 3 races remaining. Hamilton's next, making for an all-British 3rd row of the grid, while Pierre Gasly will do his best from 7th position and just 1 point adrift of aarava and Max in the standings. It was a dreadful day for Nico Rosberg as he was the slowest driver from the top 4 teams, nearly 3/10 off his teammate and a further 6/10 slower than Verstappen. Rounding out the top 10, it's unsurprisingly Giovinazzi and Bottas. Both drivers have made top 10 appearances regularly in qualifying, but only the Italian has made the most of his grid positions, currently 8th in the standings.
What's going on, guys? Over here. Welcome back to my F1 MyDriver career mode, episode number 11 today for season 3 at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. If you missed the last episode, the Malaysian one, you can go check the card annotation in the top right corner. It was a very crucial episode, so click off now. Here's your warning for spoilers, but I'm going to basically be talking about what it means going into this round right now. So, Max Verstappen won the Malaysian Grand Prix, obviously, and now he is level on points with us in the championship. Gasly 1 point behind us and Ricciardo 10 points behind us. So, this is going to be basically the start of crunch time in this season. 3 rounds to go. It's all getting very, very tasty and very, very close. But here we are at Abu Dhabi. 3 stoppers per usual, 3 option tyres and a prime set. Probably going to stick to that, really, because the prime tyre actually doesn't really work too well, in my opinion, around Abu Dhabi. Prefer to be on the super softs at the start on heavier fuel when our car is generally been working a lot better. You know, on lower fuel runs, our car has never been that great. That's why in qualifying, we've never really been that amazing, apart from Canada. But anyway, here we go to 5 red lights for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. 28 laps ahead of us, the 3rd last race of the season. We're underway, and again, as per usual, we get a pretty mediocre start. Hamilton gets a great one. He goes round outside the left-hand side, but now we dive it down the inside into turn 1, gets a really punchy entry into turn 1, and we go side by side with Hamilton through the left-hander. We're going to squeeze him out, and we're back up into 5th place. So a pretty good start, actually, compared to most of that we've had this season. And up ahead, we've got Daniel Ricciardo taking the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix as we go down the inside of Stoffel Van Dorn in the other McLaren, but that's crucial for us. Ricciardo is taking the lead. We bang tyres with Van Dorn. We keep it down the inside into the hairpin, try and take a wider line to squeeze him out a little bit, but Van Dorn gets great traction, even on the curbing there, and he's back up into 4th, so we're down to 5th. It's now a drag race down the back straight. Hamilton behind us is also looking like he's going to join us on the right-hand side of Van Dorn, so we're going to go 3 abreast now, down towards the next corner. So it's all getting very close between the 2 McLaren teammates at the moment. You can see clearly there, Ricciardo leading from Verstappen to Vettel, and then there you can see Hamilton goes round the outside of me and Van Dorn. Brilliant move, and now Hamilton is up into 4th place, just like that. So we'll get back in the tow and slipstream of Hamilton right up his gearbox, move to the left-hand side of the circuit, and we'll try and get back up into 4th place. But Hamilton with a brilliant move before there to get up into 4th. We go a little bit deep into this corner, but you can see it's going to be alright because we're going to get a better racing line into the next section, and we'll stay in 4th place. So pretty crucial first few corners and first lap for us in this Grand Prix to be in 4th place, right behind the 2 Ferraris and the Red Bull, because it's going to be crucial for us to try and maybe close up on them if they make any sort of mistake. And you can see as we cut later on into the Grand Prix right now, we're following the action with the top 3. You can just see me there in the bottom of your screen, just going past as we pan on to the Red Bull, trying to close down on Daniel Ricciardo. So this is Verstappen trying to take the lead of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix to extend his lead in the championship. Here he goes down the inside, and this is pretty damn crucial for us to look at, because this will really mean trouble for us if we keep in 4th place and Verstappen wins this race. But right now, he's back through into the lead of this Grand Prix after losing it on lap 1. But you can just see us in the background there, closing up on the 2 Ferraris. So pretty crucial that we got into this 4th place with some clean air on lap 1, because it now means as we move on to lap 6, we've closed up onto Sebastian Vettel, the German, in the 2nd Ferrari. We've got Ricciardo still chasing after Verstappen quite closely, but we're getting towards the pit stop phases already in this Grand Prix. You know, very aggressive on the tyres actually, Abu Dhabi, and so the option tyres will only go about 6 or 7 laps, give or take, if you're trying an undercut. But we close up to Vettel as we both lock up there. We're actually getting a bit of time on him in that lockup phase on the right-hander, but going under the hotel section, you can see we're all really bunching up to get together quite nicely, so that's quite good to see as we lose the rear ends a little bit as the tyres start to go. But at the moment, feeling very confident that we're this close to both Ferraris and even the Red Bull. And obviously, remember, Gasly's behind us already. He's been caught up in some dirty air with the McLarens and also some of the Renaults and the Alfa Romeos, I believe. But we're into the pits right now. You can see Ricciardo comes into the pits as well. So both of us trying the undercut on our counterparts of Vettel and Verstappen there. At the moment, I'm not too sure, speaking of my actual counterpart, Rosberg, not too sure where he's in the race. He had a very poor qualifying, really didn't get to grips with the circuit. I think he's starting to struggle with getting the grips with the car. Obviously, the car is very poor in qualifying, but obviously he's been used to the Williams, which might not have that problem. You know, it might be quite well balanced from the qualifying to the race. Whereas the Mercedes, you know, it is a bit of a dog in qualifying, and they get so much better and heavier fuel during the race, so he's probably not used to that. But as we swoop round out of that lovely pit exit, you may have noticed we actually lost a lot of time in the pit stop because a lot of cars came in right behind us, so we got held up there. So the undercut might not be as effective as I was hoping on Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen, because we've effectively lost that undercut time being held up by about 5-6 cars. So we'll have to see how it goes as we move on to lap 8, and indeed we'll see now as we come towards turn 1, climbing up the order into 6th place right now. I think that was Vettel's name tag popping up right underneath us. He goes under the underpass, and here he comes on the left hand side. So Vettel will just about get us. So the undercut has not worked out for us as we got held up, but we'll have good momentum coming to the left hander. We'll go deep, we'll lock up, but we'll just about squeeze him out, and we'll get ahead of Sebastian Vettel. So in the end, it has worked out for us there to get Vettel, but you can see up ahead Daniel Ricciardo is ahead of Max Verstappen again, so his undercut worked a treat on Max Verstappen. And to be honest, looking at the gap to me and Verstappen, I think if we didn't get held up, we could have been ahead of Verstappen right now. So that really did hinder us there, being held up by about 5-6 cars. And now we go down the inside of Lynn, obviously the new Williams driver, replacing my current teammate Rosberg there at Williams. Pretty easy stuff as he's on worn tyres at the moment, yet to make a pit stop, I think. So now we're chasing after Verstappen, and we'll see how we go. But at the moment, I'm just kicking myself and really just frustrated with the fact that unfortunately so many cars came in at the same time, because, well, I really think we could have been ahead of Verstappen if we didn't get held up. But I guess so many people thought the same thing as me and Ricciardo about getting an undercut on the rest of the field. So now, as we move later on to the Grand Prix, Vettel is actually closing up on us. We've actually lost time to Verstappen, and now on lap 11, here he comes, the German in the Ferrari. He's gone down the inside left-hand side with DRS. We're going to try our best to hang it around the outside in this next section. We'll just about get the line and tuck in ahead of him in 3rd place yet again. So, yet again, me and Sebastian Vettel are going to have a battle, I think, in this MyDriver race. It just wouldn't be MyDriver without it, would it? Me and Sebastian Vettel always just seem to meet up in MyDriver races. I'm not complaining. I mean, it usually is a very nice battle. We're always quite respectful of each other, so this should be quite a good scrap. But hopefully we can hold station in 3rd. But onto lap 12, Vettel's going to try and ruin that party. He comes on the right-hand side with DRS, so he'll have us here. But into the next corner, we should be able to get some good braking done and keep our nose in on the left-hander, going side by side with Vettel in the chicane, going round the outside, getting good traction, just like Hamilton did on us on lap 1. Now we'll go side by side on down this back straight, and I think he'll have DRS, I think, down this straight as well. Yeah, second bite of the cherry. So here he goes, getting some speed there, but we are still within a shout of going down the inside into this next section. Can we keep it once more into this tricky section as we come through, going side by side, just about tiptoeing round, and we've kept it in 3rd place just about. We had to be very cautious, because if I turned in way too much on that right-hander in the middle of the chicane, that could have been quite bad. And so as we move later on into the Grand Prix now, on towards lap 13, it'll be time for our 2nd pit stop now of the race, on for another set of super soft tyres. You can see behind us is a McLaren of, I think it's Van Dorn, and then Gasly in the Red Bull. I think Vettel has already made his pit stop, because obviously he's not there behind us, and he was still with us right up till this pit stop phase. So now another set of super softs going on. Good stop, won't get held up that much, but just a tad by the Red Bull and McLaren coming in, but not as bad as before, because you can see that train right behind us there of Magnussen, the Toro Rossos and the Alfa Romeos. That's the train we got caught up in the first pit stop. So thankfully didn't get caught up in that a second time. But I think the McLaren there behind us is actually no, that is Stoffel Van Dorn. Thought for a second that was Lewis Hamilton, but no, it is Stoffel. But as we come out the pit lane, you can see there is Hamilton, and he's actually jumped us, I think. So I think he's already made his pit stop, and as has Vettel. So we go down the inside of Hamilton now. We're going to do a little bit of a switchback line here, and we should be able to get a good run into the hairpin, go round the outside. So Hamilton has made the undercut work really well there. We go around the outside. Hamilton squeezes us off the track a little bit, just like we did to Van Dorn. We'll have to settle down for some slipstream behind us. We'll have DRS, He'll have DRS on the Manor car ahead of him, I think, of Wehrlein, I think that is. As we come through on the left-hand side, we'll try and overtake Hamilton. We'll get the job done, and we'll actually make a very, very audacious move down the inside of Wehrlein. Really did not work. Locked up horribly, but I just thought, you know what, we'll try and go for it because the Manor car isn't going to be that good, but I completely misjudged my braking there. But that is Wehrlein in the Manor, so yet again getting a little bit awkward trying to overtake my former teammate who was previously in the second Mercedes with us. Hamilton down that back straight, unable to try and slipstream us successfully to make a move into that brake zone, so we're going to stay put here in 8th place at the moment as we move later on into the lap, going through the final 2 corners, and Wehrlein will peel into the pits, thankfully. So we'll come through the final corner now, and we'll go up into what will be, I think, 6th at the moment as we go down the pit lane. Grosjean in the pits right now. Hamilton is staying with us, so he definitely has already made his pit stop then, so he made an undercut work really well for him. As we move up into 3rd place, Hamilton stays put in 4th, and I think I saw Vettel's name tag intertwine a little bit on the left-hand side, so I think Vettel may have lost a heap of time somewhere. Not too sure how, but he lost a lot of time there. So now Hamilton is the one chasing after us and trying to nab this podium from us. He goes around the outside on lap 16 down. He's actually done really well to keep it side by side with us into the next left-hander. Will just come through and squeeze him out there, and Van Dorn will do brilliantly to come side by side with him. And so now as the 2 McLarens go side by side through this double right-hander, hopefully this will allow us to get away at the moment. But look at this, the 2 McLarens, you can just see in the bottom of the shot, they're still side by side as we go onto this overhead underneath the hotel underpass. The 2 McLarens still side by side for about 5 corners, and Van Dorn will try and squeeze Hamilton now. He's going to still keep it around the outside. Fantastic to watch the 2 McLarens going at it like hammer and tong, but Van Dorn, the reigning world champion at the moment, will just hang through, and you can see there Sebastian Vettel lost a heap of time somewhere in the pit stop phases, and so he's behind 2 McLarens as we move on to lap 17 now. Speaking of Van Dorn, he'll come up now with DRS on the right hand side, so it looks like he's going to try and get another podium like he did in Malaysia. So he's up into 3rd place at the moment. We'll hang back and just get up right up his gearbox, try and set up a move basically. Because Van Dorn made the move really early, I think we might actually have DRS here, and he won't be getting the second bite of the cherry. As we go down this second back straight, we do have DRS, so we'll close in, but I don't think it's going to be enough actually down this straight. Not long enough to do anything, no. So we're into this section, just have to try and hang round right up his gearbox and try and just basically hold station until lap 18. We can maybe make the move down the main straight, and here we are onto lap 19 actually. 2 laps later, now we try and make a move down the inside. Van Dorn going quite slowly into the brake zone, actually quite cautious. We go side by side. He's still on my inside there. You can see in the proximity arrow and the mirrors, and we'll just about get him. And now onto the next, on the second straight, Hamilton's coming into the fray. Van Dorn will go to the right hand side. Hamilton left is going to be 3 wide with the 2 McLarens, and a McLaren sandwich at the moment into the left hander. We'll just squeeze it through, do enough on the brake zone, and we'll just keep hold station in 3rd place as Van Dorn is in 4th. Hamilton now 5th, and Vettel, you can see, is still very much there in what will be 6th place at the moment. But as the sun comes down, the sunset comes in Abu Dhabi, we're holding station quite a lot, having to fight quite a lot for this last podium position. And you can see on the mini-map, Verstappen and Ricciardo nowhere to be seen. They are really in a class of their own at the moment. So I think the best result we're going to hope for is 3rd place. So we're in for another pit stop, and now this will be for the prime tire. So a final pit stop of the afternoon. Hopefully we won't get held up here as we can look down the pit lane, and there's only a Red Bull and a Toro Rosso, so no, we won't get held up. That's Gasly actually, who's still down the order, surprisingly. So it looks like he's been held up by quite a lot of traffic and dirty air in this Grand Prix, maybe perhaps even with his sister team Toro Rosso in the form of Giovinazzi, but we haven't seen either of them really in this Grand Prix, surprisingly. As we come under the underpass, as we pop up, you can see the night sky is coming out in Abu Dhabi. We come out in 6th place ahead of Van Dorn in 7th, but that will of course turn to 3rd and probably 4th place as we go down and everyone makes their pit stops eventually, and we move on to lap 27 now. So nothing has actually happened since we made our pit stop. You can see we've got a little gap to Vettel at the moment, who's overtaken both McLarens, and so he's the one in 4th place as they come through. Look at that, all 3 of them doing a bit of a Gymkhana slide out of the final corner. Quite nice to see actually on that little panning shot, and all of them trying to chase me down, but we've got a good gap to Vettel, and all that last stint we just controlled the pace, controlled that gap. We couldn't catch Verstappen or Ricciardo unfortunately, so we come through for still quite a brilliant 3rd place. So we're back on the podium. We'll taste the champagne once more. We haven't been on the podium since the Belgian Grand Prix, so that champagne's going to taste pretty damn nice, but unfortunately Daniel Ricciardo wins the Grand Prix and Max Verstappen in 2nd, so he loses ground to Verstappen in the championship and Ricciardo, but Vettel comes home in 4th, then Van Dorn in 5th, Hamilton 6th. So surprising, McLaren were looking so strong, then they just dropped off in that last stint. Looks like the McLaren really did not like the prime tyres, maybe a lot like me in the Mercedes car a few times this season, just not liking the harder compound. Gasly in 7th place, really poor Grand Prix showing from him, compared to his teammate in 2nd place. I think he just got held up in traffic like I mentioned, and then my teammate Nico Rosberg in 8th, never really recovered from what was a poor qualifying, just generally struggling the entire race long. Mick Schumacher comes home for 1 point for Alfa Romeo again, so really nice for him to keep at it and getting the points again at the end of the season. But guys, if you have enjoyed that episode, smash that like button, a pretty crucial one just to not lose in as much ground as we did in Malaysia to Verstappen and Ricciardo, and also we got ahead of Gasly at least, so that's one thing. So guys, if you did enjoy that, some wonderful battles, smash that like button, let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then subscribe for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been aarava, hope you enjoyed today. I'll leave you with the post-race interviews, and I'll see you guys next time.
So it's not been since Belgium that we've seen you on the podium, and it was clear that you dragged the car beyond its limit. How was it for you out there today?
Yeah, the car felt great out there today. Really good first stint, getting past Hamilton initially after losing ground to him, but into the first corner. Car felt really alert and quite snappy, and then through the first stint, able to just try and close up on the Ferraris who are battling with Verstappen. So very happy, and I was really confident going into that the first pit stop, that we were so close to all three of them. Unfortunately, obviously, later on in the race, Verstappen and Ricciardo's true pace kind of came through. There's a reason they were on the front row today, yesterday for qualifying. So the paces showed through, and we struggled a little bit on the prime tyre and just generally the lower fuel. As we took the fuel, as the fuel came out of the car, you could see the car was getting a little bit slower. So, we still have that issue from all the way since the beginning of the season, that the low fuel running on the car, just the balance goes out of whack a little bit. So we had to do some work there to keep ahead of the Ferraris and the McLarens, both McLarens in the middle stint. But the car felt pretty decent out there, and I think we've done the best job we could possibly hope for to beat one of the Ferraris, both McLarens, and one of the Red Bulls indeed as well, which is really surprising. Really glad that Gasly got held up in dirty air, as much as he'll be annoyed by that. So really happy about it.
Despite the improved finishing position, you've now lost the lead and trail by 3 points to Max Verstappen in the championship, and Ricciardo now is level with you after his win. What are your thoughts going into the next round? Are you going to be able to pull this back with just 2 races remaining?
I can't tell you really. I can't really say too much. Like I said last time, last race out here, I think it was. I just can't really tell how it's going to go. I think, as I said, race by race will be the best option for us. If I get too caught up thinking about everything, how it's going to pan out for that until the last race, then there's a danger that you try and overplan something or try and do something too clever with the strategy. And we messed up really big time in Malaysia, and we could have had a podium there at Malaysia. And I think if we did, it would have been a different story. And at Malaysia, I think it was a case of me and the team both kind of overthinking everything, trying to cover off Ricciardo, thinking about the championship. We should have just done our own race and realised that the 2-stop was going to be a much better option for us. So again, today we did the job. We got the podium that we should have also got in Malaysia, and next race we'll go again, try and get the podium. And I think the one and only objective for me is to try and get that 3 points that I've lost to Verstappen, and anything after that or anything aside from that will be, will come and will be extra or worse. But that will be my only objective really, to get those 3 points of Verstappen. It's going to be difficult, but I'm praying that Ferrari again can be good there at Australia. They look good here, and McLaren also look pretty punchy. We just about stayed ahead of them, and I'm hoping that they can bring some upgrades and get in the mix again. Australia last season was a brilliant track for me. It was a really fantastic race for us last season. I remember with the 3-stop versus the 2-stop, I think it was, coming back at the end. I'm not too sure if our car's fast enough to do the 3-stop next race again, so we might have to do the 2, but either way I'm feeling confident the cars hopefully should go well there as well, even though we're a little bit lacking still in the qualifying area and just general balance of the car. But I'm feeling confident about that. But yeah, the only objective is the 3 points of Verstappen. We'll take it nice and slow and see how it goes.
All right, thanks for your time.
All right, cheers.